Before I start my rant, there are a couple of things I want to get out of the way here. First, I know I've not been uploading a lot lately because I've been super busy with some of my personal stuff. Hopefully, I will get back to my usual routine. Second, usually I have a full-blown rant about something or anything I see on the net, and most of it is unscripted. However, I will be changing that. I will now make a script and follow it. That is because I have realized that when I'm having my rants, I tend to forget to include some points in the video that would solidify my arguments even more. And also, it will help me narrate it well. English is not my first language, so forming up sentences on the fly while trying to have a rant is somewhat challenging for me. Third, and this is a big one, my channel is not anti-feminist. I have no problem with feminism, social justice warriors, or the political left. The problem I do have is when these three try to dictate what I can and cannot do in life, what I shouldn't and shouldn't enjoy, or when these three try to get in the way of me trying to relax or trying to have some fun. That's when I have a problem with it, and that's when I make a stand against these three by making these kind of videos. We have freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and most of all, free thinking. We can choose to disagree with people and their ideas, political associations and their beliefs, and we can present our own counter-arguments backed with stats, evidence, and opinions. Now, I know some people may consider that as a sort of attack, but it's not. And people who think like that can only be described as fickle and fragile who cannot take criticism. And instead of welcoming a new perspective of their opinions, which they can choose to disagree with if they want to, they place themselves in an echo chamber and tend to surround themselves with like-minded people who agree with them all the time, mainly because of their own insecurities, their personal issues that become highly visible when they make their opinions known online, or because they are just plain stupid who are so cropped up in their fields that they refuse to look at the science and evidence and still hope that people will agree with them and will support them. I wanted to get that out of my system. The reason I'm mentioning this, and to be honest, one of the main reasons why I'm going off a script right now, is because the person I will be addressing in the video fits that bill. Her name is Sofie Hagen. There are two ways to get famous on the net. Be funny/entertaining, or you can align yourself to feminist movements like fat acceptance and say or do something really stupid. But how does that help in being famous? Well, for a start, when you say something stupid on social media platforms like Twitter, people will address that stupidity in replies. Trust me, people will be vocal because what you're saying is clearly stupid, and they will provide stats, evidence, and counter-arguments to correct you. Highlight your stupidity even more by having an angry cuss-filled rant and completely ignore or block people who you think are presenting a valid counter-argument. Continue your trolling for a few more tweets, and when you notice people cussing you in the comments, play the victim card and highlight their comments. In other words, you start the trolling because you got triggered by something, have a cuss-filled rant, and when people present counter-arguments, you ignore them and belittle them, and at the end, play the victim card for your personal gain, and you're on a sure short way to success. Some other feminists have done that in the past, and it worked for them. Our dear Sofie Hagen is no different. If you haven't heard of her, I will not blame you. Not a lot of people have. In fact, I had to Google her, and the results I found were not very pleasing. In a nutshell, she could be described as a mediocre comedian who will probably never find the fame as most stand-ups do, because she just isn't that funny. A quick look at the comment section of a video titled 4 Minutes of Comedy would prove my point. Because she knew she's not getting enough attention because of her comedy skills, or rather lack of, she went for the other strategy which I have just described. Sofie decided to hit Cancer Research UK and their cancer prevention campaign. It is not that bad of a campaign really, but when I saw it, I instantly knew some beluga whale will be triggered by it, and lo and behold, we have Sofie Hagen. She tweeted, "Right, is anyone currently working on getting this piece of shit Cancer Research UK advert removed from everywhere? Is there something I can sign? How the fucking fuck is that okay?" But this is not the first time she has lashed out at Cancer Research. On April 2017, she tweeted, "In the same week, both at Lush Limited and Cancer Research UK contributed to fat shaming in the UK. Thanks for making the world shittier, you filthy cunts." Whoa, hold up. Why are you so upset? The banner doesn't even say the word obesity. Plus, the message is coming from Cancer Research, the people who have dedicated their lives to finding a cure to cancer and saving lives. I have strong reasons to believe that they probably know what they're talking about. And last time I checked, they were trying to find the cure for cancer, trying to change the world, trying to make it a better place. They're not responsible for curing your insecurities or anxieties. You either need to seek some professional help or suck it up and get over it. Getting triggered by an awareness message from an organization like Cancer Research, frankly speaking, makes you look like an asshole. And that's my problem right there. Why are you triggered by an advertisement? Are you that fickle that a word which is not even spelled out properly is enough to send you in a rage-induced fit that made you have a rant over Twitter? Or do you have insecurities of your own that you're not willing to acknowledge or address? Sophie, let me be the first one to say, you're a fucking retard. Not a normal retard, but a fucking retard, and here's why. I can understand you may have been triggered by a mere message on a billboard. We do live in a world where people nowadays get offended by just about anything, so it doesn't come as a surprise to me that you're offended by it. But to go on Twitter and appeal to your followers, asking them if there was a way to get the marketing down is appalling. You may choose to ignore that message as you may think you look lovely being fat, but that does not give you the right to take the message away from someone who may be fat and may be looking for that extra ounce of motivation to get their fat ass in the gym and start working on their cardio or start eating healthy. All you have to do is look the other way. If you are happy with your weight and size and are comfortable with it, then the message should not be applicable to you. But the fact that you're having this angry rant over Twitter means that you have some insecurities of your own, and you are now using the whole fat acceptance movement to get rid of a message that could motivate people to live a healthy lifestyle. But this kind of behavior is expected from a person who puts on Twitter after her little cancerous outburst, "I have found a really good way to manage my sugar cravings. What I do is I eat the sugar I'm craving. It really works and it tastes great." Sophie, you're a special kind of scumbag, you know that, right? You're not only advocating against a message that can help save lives, you're also encouraging people to live unhealthy lifestyle and risk them developing heart conditions, diabetes, and cancer. And for what? For the sake of being accepted of what you look like? You can choose to live your life the way you want to, but to encourage others to do the same can have detrimental effects. Will you take responsibility if someone follows your advices on Twitter and ends up getting diabetes? Will you pay for their loss of earnings or any other loss like amputation or any other medical condition that they can develop because of diabetes? She later tweeted, "I have been informed that I'm getting a lot of abusive anti-fatness tweets. So to you, I just want to say, I will reply to you all." Okay, that's good. That's very good. But in the form of a book I am writing about why it's okay to be fat, which will be released in spring 2019. Wait, hold up. You're going to be replying to all the criticism that is lobbed towards you in a form of a book that you will write and will be published by spring 2019, which I would have to pay to buy and then fish through all the garbage just to see what you have to say about me. I don't know, but that sounds like bullshit. You want me to pay you the money to hear your justification of actual points raised that challenged your opinions? That is not going to happen. See, in a book, I would have to sit and read through what you have to say. You're not exactly engaging in a conversation online or with someone who has legitimate concerns. You're simply saying your piece and that's it. The max effort you have to put in is to appear on some daytime shows like This Morning or any other talk show. But what about general members of the audience who try to engage with you on Twitter or any other social media sites? I guess you don't think it's worth engaging with them, is it? Well, I will pre-order your book on Amazon when it becomes available to pre-order, just to see what you have to say about this ordeal and how well you can play the victim card to show yourself rising above the so-called hate you got online. She went on, what I'm saying is, while you are spewing your dim-witted hateful opinions in 280 characters, I'm getting paid to write approximately 80,000 words about why you're wrong. You know, when you said spewing your dim-witted hateful opinions in 280 characters, does that include you too? Because you're the one that started all this. You're the one that started spewing out all the hatred against cancer research by calling them cunts. You want to address that? Yes? No? Oh well, I'm going to have to read your book then. And as far as the getting paid to write approximately 80,000 words about why you're wrong part is concerned, well, I just want you to know that while I'm not getting paid to make this video, it wouldn't stop me from doing what I like to do. And it will definitely not stop me from doing what is right. If you really believe your cause, then getting paid for a book shouldn't matter. What really should matter is that you're spreading your word around and writing a book you believe in. But I guess you believe in the fat check more than the fat acceptance movement. Now, I know this video has been super long, but I really need to address some of her tweets. And trust me, these tweets just go on to show what kind of a human being she really is. If people really cared about fat people's health, why would they use shame, ridicule, and fear to make them change their ways? Those are not things that make people want to take care of themselves. Those are making fat people feel unwell. Yes, Sophie, we can tell. An advert made a beluga whale so unwell that she went on Twitter and began having a rant about how it's okay to be fat, even though medical science clearly says that being fat could lead to health problems in the future. Shame, ridicule, and fear, as much as we want to hate them, can act like catalysts that can push people to change their lives. Even though I must add here that the advert in question doesn't shame or ridicule fat people. The only reason you felt that because you feel embarrassed by your own weight and body size. Because you don't feel comfortable with your own body, you believe that every advert that promotes a healthy option of living shames your existence. While you may feel that way, I would like to remind you that the world doesn't revolve around you. There might be people out there who may be looking for that extra push, and adverts like these could push them to make some changes in their lives by going for some healthier options. You cannot take this message away from them just so you can feel happy. So hey, hate fat people, but admit that you hate fat people. That whole "it is unhealthy" speech is getting embarrassing and it's getting old now. You don't want us to be healthy. You want us to hate ourselves because you hate us. Own up to your bigotry. No. I don't exactly hate fat people, but fat people will probably hate themselves when a zombie apocalypse hits the nation.
Rule number 1 for surviving Zombieland: cardio. When the virus struck, for obvious reasons, the first ones to go were the fatties.
I would love to show you what happens to that fat person at the end of the clip, but I won't. Don't want to trigger any beluga whales out there, but I would say the fat dude ended up becoming a fat, juicy Big Mac meal for the zombie. And do not even try me with but the NHS has to pay for bullshit. Because you know who else you have to pay for through your taxes? People who live to be fucking 95 years old because they have lived on kale and misery all their lives. Did she just take a pot shot at vegans and vegetarians all around the globe? Because if she did, that'll be pretty fucking stupid. Especially when you consider that kale is actually healthy for you. According to a quick Google search, kale is low in calorie, high in fiber, and has 0 fat. 1 cup of kale has 36 calories, 5 grams of fiber, and 0 grams of fat. It is great for aiding in digestion and elimination with its great fiber content. Sophie, you should try some of that, and you'll probably feel a whole lot better. But to justify her argument, allow me to paint this picture here. You can live on kale all your life, but you will still need medication when you get older. Probably some surgeries too, like knee replacement surgeries or an accident that could lead to other surgeries. The money taxpayers pay powers NHS. And I don't need to remind you, Sophie, but remember when all the Brexit campaign was taking place? One of the lies that was fed by Nigel Farage was that he would pledge £350 million of the European Union cash to the NHS. So you see, NHS holds a lot of importance in the country, and people like you come across as someone who is abusing it. It's like saying eat whatever you want and live the way you want to, and hey, if anything goes wrong, throw it at the NHS and let them sort it out. Have you seen the waiting queues at A&E recently? Or better yet, imagine if everyone started showing the attitude you have. The NHS would sink. Chemotherapy and the research that follows after costs resources, and what cancer research is trying to do is asking people to take care of their health so they would not be a burden on the NHS. At least that's what I think. Not to mention, chemotherapy doesn't work all the time, and successful or not, it can damage a person's body by radically transforming it, which includes hair loss, weakness, vomiting. Watch Breaking Bad and you will get a clear idea of what I'm talking about. But while we're talking about Breaking Bad, let's talk about the US of A, shall we? According to UPI.com, researchers report that the percentage of US health spending on treatment of obesity-related illnesses in adults climbed from just over 6% in 2001 to almost 8% in 2015. In other words, because more money is being spent on treating obesity-related illnesses, and because American citizens need private healthcare insurance in order to be treated, the cost of insurance has gone up significantly. Obesity is killing people in America. For more concrete info, here's an article in Forbes magazine. Obesity now costs Americans more in healthcare spending than smoking. Read the entire article if you want. It will be in the description box below, so knock yourself right out. Also, I will also put up the link of CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that will tell you a lot about obesity and how it affects people. Sophie, people in the UK have legitimate concerns about the NHS and your ideologies are not helping it. Taxpayers want to see their money to work, but it is apparent that the money is being directed to people like yourself who want to do whatever the fuck they want only to end up on NHS and increase the queues there. But hey, I will take that criticism back on one condition. If fat people sign a waiver that says they relinquish their rights to obtain free healthcare from the NHS and will have to pay for their treatments if diagnosed with cancer, diabetes or heart conditions, and in return they can do whatever the fuck they want, I will have no problem with that. And I'm sure all those saying, but the NHS has to pay for, will have no problems with it either. But something tells me you will have a problem with that waiver. People like you want to live their lives the way they want to, but without any repercussions. Welcome to the real world where you get what you put in and no one gives a capital F about your feelings. Oh, but do you know what else the taxpayers' money go on to? People who claim disability because they are too fat to move. Right about now, I would end the video, but unfortunately there is more of her cancerous tweets. Stop wrapping your fat hate in pretending to care about our health. Fuck off. Ever considered mental health? Why is that less important? What does shaming, bullying and harassment do to a person, to children? Way too much cancer going on in this tweet, especially now with the kids are being involved. Fear not, I shall tackle the issue here. Yes, I'm considering the mental health issues right now. Yours to be specific. I'm going to make an assumption here, but I think you may have been bullied when you were young for being fat, and you think you're being bullied right now with these kind of adverts. But those are just your feelings, and they are cancerous to society. Obesity is becoming a problem that is actually harming people, even more so in countries like America where people cannot afford healthcare plans because of the rise of obesity. So instead of trying to lose weight organically, you decided to give up and pork yourself out. That's your decision, and I got nothing against that, but to encourage others to do the same, I have no choice but to question your mental health here. You may choose not to believe what science or cancer research has to say, but to encourage others to live an unhealthy lifestyle, you must really be sick in the head. And let's talk about bullying and harassment for a second, okay? What do you think the researchers at Cancer Research may have gone through, the mental stress you put them through when you launched an abusive hate campaign against them? As if it wasn't bad enough for them that with each passing day, they have to face the fact that they still haven't come up with a definite solution for curing cancer. And on top of that, they have to put up with triggered beluga whales like yourself. Do you think that maybe you should have considered their mental health, Sofie? You are nothing more than a self-centered prick who cares only about her own feelings and nothing else. As far as children are concerned, I'm sure it would be ideal to instill some healthy dietary in their routines. They will thank us in the long run. Now, I'm not condoning bullying of fat kids, but I would say that their parents need to control their diet and motivate them to take part in physical exercises too. Oh, and do not think I'm talking about my own mental health right now. Oh, trust me, I am. I'm not reading your tweets or comments because your opinions mean less to me than you probably did to your parents. Whoa, hold up. I thought you said in your earlier tweets that you would reply to all who are sending you anti-fatness tweets in your book. So if you're not reading the tweets to begin with, then that means your book will focus on how difficult you have had with being fat and how to beat the so-called hate and harassment that you got over Twitter and how you overcame all that. In other words, self-glorifying bullshit. Well, there goes the pre-order plans out of the window. If you genuinely think you care about the health of fat people, fine. Has centuries of shaming, bullying, and scarring fat people made us lose weight, or are there more fat people than ever? You do realize that at one point, being fat was considered attractive in society. I don't remember from the top of my head that it was during the Dark Ages or it was during the Great Depression, but at one point, being fat was associated with being well fed and was considered attractive because food was hard to find and gather. But as time went on and more junk food became available, being skinny or slim or well-maintained body has become attractive in society because it shows that there are women out there who like to look after themselves, their diet, and so on. It just makes them look more confident and thus makes them look attractive. As opposed to someone like yourself who looks like someone who can put an all-you-can-eat restaurant out of business. The reason there are more fat people now than ever is because of people like yourself who think it's perfectly okay to eat junk food, get fat, and then blame the entire world for not finding you attractive. And I'm not buying into fat being unhealthy. It's not inherently unhealthy, and even if it was, fat people can do whatever the fuck they want with their health, including getting so fat that you cannot move and thus claim disability benefits, which will in turn cost the government, develop medical problems like heart conditions, diabetes, and or cancer, and can be a burden on the NHS, or just be a horrible person and just be triggered over Twitter. Apparently, fat people have the right to do whatever the fuck they want, including these three. But if I did pretend to accept that, your arguments are still fucked up. You just hate fat people. I'm not denying fat people of their humanity. I'm not against the existence of fat people, but what I am against is fat people like Sofie Hagen refusing to accept that obesity can lead to medical problems and is using baseless arguments to promote unhealthy lifestyle. I'm sorry, I'm not the one for the feels, okay? Miss me with your feelings. Miss me with that gay shit. Fuck your feelings, okay? It's about you accepting your responsibility towards yourself. She later tweeted, "This is amazing. People are buying my show just so they can put 'die you fat bitch' in a fake email address. Listen, that seems fair. Send me £5 and you can send me some abuse and I'll read it. For £10, I'll even look at your meme of me." Funnily enough, she posted no screenshots of people putting "die you fat bitch" in the email address. Personally, I would have loved to see someone with the email address "obesity leads to cancer at youwillnotbeok.com. Sofie, you're not worth £10. You're not even worth a fiver. You're worth nothing. I refuse to spend any money on you, but thanks to your rant, I will make money out of your fat ass thanks to ad revenue whenever my channel gets monetized. At this point, I was going to end the video, but I came across this tweet from her on International Women's Day. Masturbating to the sound of men crying over International Women's Day with the piece of vibrating plastic I have replaced them with. because apparently we live in a world where it is deemed perfectly acceptable for women to throw man-hating, misandrous tweets, and the moment a man tweets anything along the lines of rape culture being a myth, or hashtag Gamergate, or hashtag Men2, he is labeled as a misogynist. Well, Sophie, don't you worry. I have nothing against you replacing us men with a piece of vibrating plastic. In fact, I feel sorry for all the men who are probably lining outside your home just to get in them walls. I mean, it must be pretty hard for you to turn down men all the time because they just want to, be that vibrator. I feel sorry for all those men. But if you ask me, I want you to be perfectly accustomed to it, okay? I want you to name that vibrator. I want you to cherish it, look after it, because in 10 years' time, when sex robots become more famous and easily available, you and many other beluga whales out there will be replaced too, with men refusing to get in bed with you. You will have no other option but that vibrating piece of plastic.